Hi Annie, this is my before video. This is a situation in which I was given an opportunity to lead a meeting amongst the Queensland sales team. I was briefed to explain and run through a reporting tool that the company had just introduced for the sales team to utilise. The issues to me prior to the meeting were engaging with the team of much older people. They've got plenty of field experience, but very limited new age technology experience or knowledge. I was nervous at the time. Throughout the meeting I tried to be as informative as possible. I wanted to be interactive and hands-on so everyone felt involved. I wanted to be charismatic and informative. This may have appeared bossy to some at times, but I wanted to be seen as someone mature and a performer. My tone was very directive. 10 or so minutes into the meeting, I could see people's body language varying. As my eyes circled the room, I noticed some had their eyes on me, some heads nodding, some had their heads invested in their laptops, experimenting with the learning so far. As my eyes continued to hover, I then noticed Stephen, one of the ASMs. His body language was really non-existent. His eyes were focused out the window. It didn't appear I had his full attention whatsoever, or that he was even listening. This annoyed me because in my mind, if anyone, it was him that should be one of the major participants paying attention, because his skills were rather limited in this field and would benefit him. This made me feel anxious and a little angry, as I felt his lack of appreciation and attention to my presentation was reflecting on me as a coach and a leader that was put in charge to teach the sales team some benefits and new tools. This situation led me to converse now directly with Stephen and not the team. This went on for a few minutes. Then he asked a question that had absolutely no relation to the meeting or the topic that we were discussing. I had the opportunity here to hit the nail on the head and mention something along the lines of, to save time, people, let's keep all questions until the end of the meeting, just in case I answer them as we're going along. Instead, I defaulted to try continuing to be polite whilst maintaining I was in charge and control. I ended up answering his question, which then led to more questions. This time the questions relating to topic at hand, which I'd already answered. So I responded hastily and without thinking, because I'd let my internal anxiety and anger take charge. Well, if you had been paying attention, Stephen, you would have known that X, Y, Z can do this, which will then allow you to do A, B, and C. Before the meeting, I had preconception that Stephen was incompetent and unskilled in what I was about to present. I don't think this helped the situation. I continued on with the meeting, but noticed I was beginning to pace the room more, looking at the roof. Whilst on the inside my desire was to be charming, smart and approachable, the above situation took me from the zone I was attempting to be in to an uncomfortable place. I now became even more nervous, anxious and felt even more under pressure. I think that when I'm nervous, I ignore the clues to other people's feelings around me. Not long after I'd moved on with the meeting, Stephen punched his laptop screen, stood up, called me a smartass while storming out of the room. When the first thing I tried with Stephen didn't work, I kept breaking things down. My tone of voice changed, I got louder and more questioning. My energy and my body shifted because I was flustered. I was walking around the room, looking up at the roof. I hesitated because I was unprepared for someone to not pay attention and in my mind show me mutual respect. Once I feel this happen in the future, I will pause, put my right arm behind my back. This will send me a trigger to stop and listen rather than continue to talk, and perhaps stop my anxiety. I found that from reading Pedler Boydell 2013, credulous listening has helped me reflect and understand that what people say is right for them at the time, and I need to neglect my own feelings and emotions before judging. If I can suspend my own ideas, I will be able to better understand the personal constructs of other people. I need to allow my own ideas and prejudices not to get in the way. When I feel that I'm starting to become too wrapped up by my own feelings, I will implement a circuit breaker of asking a key question so I can stop myself from responding, pause the situation, allow myself to think and not react in a negative or confronting way. Cherry 2012 says that cultivating leadership practices suggests that leadership is about choosing to make difference to a situation or an event, choosing to influence with specific intent with a purpose in mind. It involves influential behaviour, not just mobilising, sustaining the energy and efforts of people, but also withdrawing and reflecting. This reflects well in my situation that I needed to not have a preset mindset in place that everyone should or does know what I know, and I could have known when to withdraw and redirect the situation. Like I mentioned before, asking a question or mentioning to hold all questions until the end of the presentation would have triggered me to send the situation in a different pathway and suspend my default routine. I also believe that using the GROW model as explained by Pedler, Boygoin and Boydell 2013 will help me plan better for future coaching sessions that I'm asked to lead by setting out a checklist and framework to help us come up with the answers that we want to take away. To be a better listener, I'll ask a question. I need to try to understand the point of view from the other side of the fence without having any prejudice or feelings. Then I can choose what to say next without being so forceful, in control, and less understanding to the other person's feelings, emotions, and what they believe to be true at the time. If I do this, my internal behaviour will stay more relaxed, my charisma can shine, and my intentions at the beginning can remain strong throughout. I can understand the situation better so that we can all reach the common goal that we set out to achieve at the start of the meeting or session. I'll finish with a quote from Pedler, Boygoin and Boydell 2013. Reading people and reading a book can be very similar. Depending on how you read them can determine what you take away. Thank you. Okay, after video. I would say now that my default routine occurs when I become nervous or I feel anxious. As part of my personality type identified by Human Matrix Jung typology test, I'm an extrovert. I'm outgoing and I want to encourage people and help them become better. To other more sensitive personality types, this may have come across as condescending. In future, by asking more questions, I can use this as a circuit breaker rather than trying to respond to every and any question that's asked. This will help me also become a better listener and be able to build an instant or better rapport with other personality types. This leads to another interesting point in relation to emotional and social intelligence as explained by Dr. Daniel Goleman, Social Intelligence 2007. Managing emotions while feeling nervous and anxious on the inside, it's important to be able to reflect and think quickly by managing these emotions. Another circuit breaker that has been suggested by Ben, who is part of my SLG, is to try perhaps sit down, breathe more. Taking deep breaths has allowed me again to stop talking, listen more, and even smile, which creates a deferred action from my tone of voice changing or answering questions that make me feel uncomfortable. I now also realise the importance of social intelligence in the workplace and how much effect it can have. Having empathy for people around you, engaging people better, being more positive and using my internal feelings to communicate effectively with a group, rather than my initial prejudices of working with older people that made me nervous, anxious, intimidated before the meeting even began. I needed to suspend these feelings and let my natural charisma and outgoing personality shine. Whilst collaborating with my SLG, I noticed a switch from our initial conversations via Blackboard to our very first interactions via Collaborate. There wasn't much structure or sense of direction. This made me reflect to my incident and how I began my coaching session. I've read the Harvard Business Review article, How Virtual Teams Can Create Human Connections Despite Distance. Although my incident was in real time, using ground rules, getting alignment, and creating candor are all important ways to start meetings and something I would change for the future when leading a session. In order to practice changing my default routines and using the circuit breakers listed in my before and after videos, I have approached my company to help with my development, which was well received. I will be involved in more meetings and coaching sessions where I can implement the key changes.